Yes, Christine and Sarah, thanks so much for being here today. Welcome to Google. Is it both of your first times here?
We've been here a few times.
A few
We have
times.
friends at
Oh.
Google.
Mhm.
Some of them are here. We love your cafeteria.
Wonderful. You had some great sushi today, right?
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit more about how you met and how you came to build this business together.
So I don't know if you guys can hear me. Okay, great. So Sarah and I have actually been friends for, I would say now 15 years. It's been incredible. We met as interns at L'Oreal in Korea and somehow moved over to New York at the same time in 2008. Continuing our careers at L'Oreal, I did a quick detour for a master's program, but joined her again at L'Oreal. We were always in different brands, but colleagues. So we would meet after work, drink, sheet mask while we drink, which is also like a very important differentiator. And we both realized over time that we were, as marketers and product developers, very often working with Korean manufacturers. And this was because whenever we would have these vendor meetings, we would always notice that Korea really had these amazing out-of-the-box innovations that just beat everyone else out of the water. And we also noticed at the time K-beauty was being talked about a lot more, but the brands that were being brought over were being done so in a very promotional way. It was more about the cutesy packaging. There was not a lot of brand longevity or building happening. So we thought, why not bring over brands that we're personally passionate about, innovations that we feel like deserve that global platform, and do it ourselves and curate clean, cruelty-free indie brands that could really make a difference in women's skincare routines here.
So that's how we started. We were working at L'Oreal for a long time, both of us, but we quit our jobs. It was a huge adventure. Our parents were very much against the idea. Why leave your cushiony job that you were both passionate about? But we just believed in this so much. So we decided to jump right to it. We didn't want to waste any time. We felt the timing was right. Actually, if you're ever thinking about entrepreneurship, timing is really, really critical. You have to see where the wave is going, the trend is going, and make sure that you're the first to speak about something that's relevant. And we decided to buy our flight tickets to Korea. So we flew to Seoul. We walked around streets of Seoul, walked into all these beauty stores that we were really in love with, started to collect our favorite products and cold called and cold emailed 30 brands that we were interested in curating at that time and got responses from 9 brands, signed contracts, and came back 2 weeks later. And that's how our website, glowrecipe.com, started. We started with a small platform where we just photoshopped ourselves and hired people from across the globe to make sure that we're just efficiently maximizing our budget. And then we were up on our site live a month later. So I don't think we slept enough for the first month, but it was something that we were so passionate about. We were never stressed out. Actually, we're just so excited to just get this out the door, introduce all these amazing products, but also the beauty of Korean skincare. And we just felt like the education wasn't there in a proper way. And we wanted to leverage everything that we've learned from Korea, from our moms, but also from L'Oreal to the world.
So, kind of to follow up on that, one of my favorite things to do is to read the early life section in Wikipedia to kind of understand, where did this person come from? What was their background like? Was there anything in your, childhood or college years that you think contributed to you both becoming successful businesswomen today?
That's a great question. We both call ourselves third culture kids. We were talking about this at lunch earlier because we really have lived all over the place. So I grew up in Louisiana. My dad was doing his graduate degree there, saw Shaquille O'Neal before he became Shaq, and then moved back to Korea for middle school. And it was such an awakening at that time because culturally, yes, of course, things are different, but being middle school, my friends were already starting their skincare routine. And here was me having come straight from the US, never used sunscreen, like raw, and then into this beauty scene where everyone was already starting to do their like toner, their cleanser, their moisturizer, their SPF, and almost that moment and really indulging that self-care moment already. And they were learning this from their mothers and their grandmothers. And then the rituals that would take place, whether that was going to the bathhouse every weekend with your grandmother, but using household items to like treat the face. So because she was very thrifty, she would only use like kind of spoiled milk, but she would bring the carton along and we would splash that on the skin and you would see this immediately brightening effect. But the reason for that was because milk has lactic acid in it. So there's science behind the method, but all of these homegrown remedies was just, it was a fascinating entry into K-beauty for me.